Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, we are going to be working on a WIP that I have in Gods and Goddesses. Excuse my voice, it is a little grumpy with me this morning. I've got some good tea here that I'm going to take a sip of. And hope that that helps some throughout today. So this is by Vivid Publishers. It's illustrated by Chinthaka Harath, and they have a series of books. I wonder if they have them. They don't have them listed in here, but this one is awesome. So here's all the images, and then this is the one that I'm working on. It probably doesn't even look like I've done anything yet in it, but I have been. I prepped this with some clear gesso. So I used this Liquitex. Now, this one is not my favorite because it does leave quite a rough surface behind. But I have this, this little sanding block that I used to use in my scrapbooking all the time. And so I just ran that over the surface of the page, and it still leaves a good amount of coverage on the page so that I can still use water mediums on this and not have the Create Space paper buckle like crazy. So I am using, or attempting to use, my Arteza watercolor pencils. So I've got those here. And I'm going to be switching back and forth between using some water brushes and using some paint brushes because I have a couple different paint brushes that I would like to use too. So you can see that I've done a little bit of a layer, and yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this yet. So I'm just gonna start putting color down, and I mean, I say this almost every week. It's you never know what it's going to look like until you've got it all down. So I think what I'm going to do first is I am going to wet the sky here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do first. So I'm going to get my brush nice and wet. And then, come on, pick up all that water. There you go. And I'm just going to come in and brush some water throughout this area here. And then I'm going to take, oh shoot, I probably should have picked out my color. Shoot. Well, I can't find my, my colors at the moment, and I think I want kind of a, I think I want kind of a cloudy, bluish, grumpy sky. So I'm going to take this dreamy blue, and I'm going to use my water brush, and I'm just going to pick the color off of the pencil right there, and just, oh, that's way bluer than I thought it was. That's okay. I'm just going to drop the color in. I'm not paying attention to it being neat. I'm just getting color down on the page. I am not like the best at watercolors, but this A challenge that was put together by Corey from Colorfully Optimistic really is having me play with these this month, and I like them, but they're not my favorite. I really like my Inktense, and I really love my super colors, and I'm sure if I had the Albrecht Dürers, I would be using those and loving those, but yeah, these ones still aren't my fave. You can use them on some pages, but yeah, not my fave. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry. We're going to move to another section. Let me see what else I want to do. Maybe I'll do some of these grasses and see if I can actually color on the page. I have used Create Space paper before with, I don't want that color. All right, I have to find my, I have to find my color chart. Hang on. Good Lord. Okay, I found it. So I've got, I think I used forest green on that. I want similar colors down here, but I want it to be a lighter green too. So maybe that forest and the apple, maybe those will work. Where's the forest? Is it this one? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna set these aside so I can move my stuff around. I am gonna sharpen. All right, so while I'm doing this, good morning. I hope that you are all doing well. I hope you're having a wonderful, really? All right, sorry, there might have been a cuss word said, so I had to cut part of that out. Hi. I hope that you are all doing wonderfully well, that you are having a good weekend, that life is going swimmingly for all of you. I want to start this out by saying that I apologize to anyone if I sound grumpy or ungrateful. I don't know how this is going to sound. A few of you might already know this. So, I don't know if I had talked about this last weekend. I think I had recorded my weekend WIP before all of this happened. My son last Saturday, so it was after the weekend WIP. Last Saturday, he woke up and was just feeling terrible, just awful. And so we were watching him, and he ended up spiking a pretty high fever, and just kept an eye on him, tried to keep his fever down. And then the next day, I started feeling really bad. And so Sunday around 2 or so, like right after Colorfully Optimistic's live stream ended last week, I went to bed, and I didn't move again until until the next evening, Monday evening. And so my son missed school Monday because he still had a fever, and then I felt better on Tuesday morning. He was still not feeling great. His fever was gone, but he was still just feeling really tired. He was really congested. And we just thought that, he caught just like a regular flu bug, because there were no like weird COVID symptoms. There was no, loss of taste. There was, none of the other things that you would associate with COVID other than fever and a headache. And I had not heard that the congestion was a big part of it. But yeah, evidently it is. The school had said we were going to send him back to school after we called in and told him that he wasn't coming on Tuesday. They called us back immediately and were like, okay, before he comes back, he has to test negative for COVID. And I was like, yeah, okay, I understand that. The testing is not as widely available as it had been. So, we ended up having to make an appointment with the doctor, and then couldn't get in right away. So long story short, we had to wait several days for him to get his positive COVID test back. And now we are all in lockdown. My husband and my youngest have not shown any symptoms, which is great. I have been vaccinated, so my symptoms were not nearly as bad as my son's. And I want to preface this by saying I am unbelievably grateful that we did not have anything worse happen. You know, I'm going to complain about missing a few things here and there, but I don't want, I want everybody to, you know, I understand how scary it could have been. My mom had ended up in the hospital when she had COVID. I know how bad it could have been, and I'm so grateful that neither one of us had severe symptoms. That being said, my daughter had just started actually working hard in cross country. She was starting to get used to it, and now I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a fight again. Because she can't go back to any school or sporting events until the 30th, I think, which I didn't realize. Since I missed a couple days, I guess I didn't realize how late in the month it was already. I looked at the date. I was like, it is not August 21st. That is crazy talk. My husband is also, he started coaching the high school soccer team recently. He's one of the assistant coaches, and he is going to miss half of the season, half of the games. My son, who is in his senior year, is going to miss several of his cross-country meets. And he has been working his butt off lately to make his time better. And I'm bummed for all of them. You know, I fared a lot better because I don't work outside the home. I color. You know, all of my hobbies are indoors. My husband's going to go crazy because you guys know he's a runner, and he's just going to go nuts. So, you know, I think the initial feeling is like, oh my gosh, our life is ruined. What are we going to do? But I know that, you know, over the next, I mean, for my son and myself, we only have to be quarantined until the 24th because we started showing symptoms on the 14th. So it's like a 10-day period. And, but the other two, since so the school said as long as we could keep my daughter isolated from my son and myself, that she could come back to school on August 30th. Otherwise, they would be quarantined until September 7th. And so right now we are living basically as a house divided. Like if anybody, like I'll go and make dinner, and you know, I'm wearing my mask. I'm making sure that I wash my hands every like 10 minutes, it feels like. And then I will let them come in and get their food, my husband and my daughter, and then my son and I will get our food, and we're sitting in different rooms and like yelling across the house to each other if we want to talk to each other, because we're used to having family dinners together. And so that's been an adjustment. I can't tuck my daughter in at night, and that is driving me nuts, because that's like one of the only times where she's still snuggly, and at 9 I'm not going to get too many more snuggly years. So that one is hurting me a little bit. My son and I are spending a little bit more time together because we're both kind of just like on the couch, and not doing too much. So he's been playing these awesome video games that I've been watching. He's been playing this game called Xenoblade, and I love to watch. I can't play the video games myself because I get I get too, I don't know, I get too angry when I can't figure out a control, or I can't make my hands do what I think that they should be doing. So I like to watch other people play video games. And that started when I was in high school. My boyfriend at the time, he started playing Tomb Raider, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest game I've ever seen. And I tried to play it a couple of times, and I just got so angry, like so angry. So I was like, no, you just go ahead and play that game and I'll just watch. And then he also played Resident Evil, and really, really enjoyed watching that one too, although it scared the bejesus out of me. But yeah, so my husband, he's not necessarily that kind of game player. He plays different kinds of games. But my son has recently gotten into these online RPG games. Well, the online ones and just like the regular RPG games. And for anybody who doesn't know, an RPG game is a role-playing game. So the characters kind of go through these long story arcs. So it's almost like a mini movie in a way. And yeah, so I've really been enjoying watching him play that. And he's got a couple other games on standby that he's ready to start playing. And I really want to watch those too, because there's like a Final Fantasy one in there. And I know a little bit about like the history and stuff of that one, but not enough. And yeah, so that's been a good thing from all of this. You know, again, my son is a senior in high school, so it's not like he's wanting to sit around and hang out with his mama. But it's been nice, because he'll sit and then talk to me about like story, like characters and story arcs of different things that he's been playing, and so that's been nice. But yeah, it's a little tricky because our house is not a huge house. We do have 2 levels, and we have like a living room and a family room, and we have a basement. So we're able to kind of divide the house up that way. My daughter has been spending a ton of time in her room, which I don't love, because she's just kind of sequestered in there on her phone watching YouTube videos. She's been hanging out with friends a little bit, but the majority of the time is spent on YouTube, and I do not love that. Once school figures out what they're doing, though, she'll be online, doing like an online virtual learning. So she'll have to be logged into Classroom and stuff for long periods of the day. So at least they'll have her covered on that aspect, because I can't really like go in there and like play a game with her or do a puzzle, or you know what I mean? Like we can't even sit and color together. I mean, she could do it in one room and I could do it in the other, but that's not really that's not really the whole point of it. I don't know if I love these colors. I probably should have picked more of a yellowy green instead of such a bright green, but that's okay. We're working with it. So when you take the color straight off of the pencil, it is not as vibrant as when you color with it straight on the page. So that's something good. That's something to keep in mind. The other thing with the Arteza watercolor pencils that I have noticed, if your page is not prepared, they tend to not be as vibrant. That's just been my opinion. Certain books they work well in, other books not so much. But since most of the books that I have to color in that are on my list are CreateSpace, I was trying to figure out some way to be able to use different mediums other than just colored pencils, because I love my colored pencils, but every once in a while I just want to play with something else, you know? So that there was, I can't remember who it was I was watching. I went online and looked up a bunch of, trying to find what gesso was best to prep the paper. And I think Coloring with Kay, she does glazing liquid. I think that's what she calls it. And there was somebody else who used something different, but I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, but I had seen several people recommend the Art Basics clear gesso, so I think I'm going to grab some of that and see if I can do that. And then another thing that they recommended, which I used to do this on my scrapbooking pages and didn't even think to do it on my coloring page, you can use like an old card, so like a membership card or something. So for example, I have this really old Sears card. It's just like a little coupon member card thing. I don't even know whose that, I don't think it was even mine. But anyway, you can see on the edges there's some white, and that was from when I would take white gesso and prepare like a white background for my scrapbooking page, and that way I could add watercolor or paint splatters or different things to it, and the paper wouldn't buckle so bad. So yeah, when I started thinking about how to get watercolor on this paper without it going crazy and the watercolor actually working the way it's supposed to, it's like, well, I bet I could probably use gesso on there. And then I started looking it up, and yep, sure enough, lots of people did it. Now, I had tried it before, and I think I talked about it in one of my videos. I don't remember which one, but I had tried it on several different types of paper, and I just was frustrated with the way that it felt at the end, because it was so full of texture that I could not get, like, it tore up the end of my pencils when I tried to color on it. The pigment wouldn't stay in place. It was just kind of a mess, and I just kind of gave up on it at that point. Well, this recent little research turned up that, yeah, you can do it. Just find a gesso that's not so full of texture, or sand it away. So yeah, I still might try to get that Art Basics one though, and try to apply it with the card instead of a brush. So that'll definitely help with the coverage. And I'm lazy, so I only put one coat of gesso on this. I'm sure that I could, if I put another coat on there, it would perform way better. But I don't want to wait for it to dry, and then I just want to put it on in color. Yeah, okay. I think some of these in between parts I am going to add a darker color maybe. Thankfully, this hasn't been too rough on my brush since I've sanded it, because I really love this aquash brush, and I don't want to ruin the tip like I have on so many other brushes. All right, so now that you have heard all of my personal drama, let's talk a bit about the channel. I finished my mythographic, nope, that's not what it is, my Colormorphia color along of the Pharaoh. Finally finished it. That thing took me so much longer than I was expecting. I was like, yeah, it's a single page. I'll be done fast. No worries. Yeah, it is. It just, maybe it was just me. I don't know, but it took quite a bit longer than I was expecting it to. So it is a 4-parter. Each part is close to an hour long. So, and that's with parts sped up. So you guys can imagine how long it actually took me to color. But, you know, if you break it up into sections and do it over several days, then it's definitely a doable page. And the result, I'm so pleased with the result. I love the way it turned out. It's so fun. Was really happy that I used like this whole, I did a whole color palette. Like I planned out my color palette. I pulled up inspiration photos. I made like this whole sheet to help me out with it, because I knew that if I didn't have that pre-planned, I was just going to get frustrated with that Kirby page and not finish. Which I think is what happens the majority of time when I decide to tackle a Kirby page. So maybe I'll just change my approach to those a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to make some of these lighter. I put a lot of pigment on here evidently, and I didn't realize that was happening when I was coloring with these. Yeah, so that is up on the channel. It is done. I'm going to post the image to Instagram here in a couple of days. Probably on the community page too, just so you guys can all see what the finished result looks like. What else? Oh, I have several of my How I Color Alphabet series videos filmed, uploaded, ready to go. So those are going to start next week. And I am enjoying those as well. I think I talk about this a little bit in those videos, but I always, you know, I always feel the need to preface anything that I try to show you guys with, I'm not an art teacher. I didn't go to school for art, you know, all of these things. I think I need to stop doing that. Just because I didn't go to school for it doesn't mean I haven't learned things that I can share. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stop saying that. I don't always feel as confident in my skills as I should, and, you know, I don't think I'm a bad colorist. I'm proud of the work that I do the majority of the time. And if I do make a mistake, if I do screw something up, at least I've learned from that. You know, it's not like I make the mistake and I never try it again, or, you know, case in point with this gesso here, I did some more research. I tried a different technique. It's working a bit better. Learning. Okay, I don't like the way that is going there. Okay. So yeah, so I do state in the video a couple of different times that that's why they're called tutorial-ish, because I'm not fully comfortable, you know, saying this is exactly how you should color it, because, well, and it's not even so much that I don't, you know, I don't feel like I'm an artist. I feel like it's more of a tutorial-ish, because who am I to tell you how to color? Like, you color the way that you want to color, and get your enjoyment out of it however you do. My videos are like, hey, if you want to try this tip that I found, or if you want to try to do it this way, have at it, you know? It's just this is how I've found works for me, and if it helps you in any small way, I will be thrilled. Because that's really all I want to do. You know, I hear so many people say how frustrated they get with coloring, and that is not the point of this hobby. It is meant to relax. It is meant to open your mind to the creativity that's inside of you. Boy, that was deep. Yeah, but that's truly how I feel about it. Like, I feel like it just, this should be something that you thoroughly enjoy doing. And if you get too frustrated every time you pick up a brush or pencil or whatever, any tips or tricks that you can learn that make your life a little bit easier or make it more enjoyable for you, I think that's the way to go. So that's why I share the things that I do. So, what else? So I will have a haul this month. I bought a few supplies, and I did buy a few books. Several of them were pre-orders. But there were a couple that I got that were not pre-orders. So while I am coloring only from books that don't have any finished pages, I've added a few more to my collection. It was just so tempting, you guys. Like, I couldn't not get them. I don't know what that says about me. I don't know if I'm literally addicted to this hobby or, what it is, but I got some books. Like I said, not a ton, but there are definitely some. Okay, I'm going to try this jade green. This is more of a bluish green color, but I'm going to try to add this in the background and see if I can. I don't know if that's going to work. So, what are we going to do? I think maybe I'll just add in this darker color in places, and then maybe I'll add that jade green on top of it. We'll see. I need to take another sip of my tea. I don't know if I actually said this while I was letting you all know about what's going on, but my son is feeling better. He just has some congestion. He hasn't had a fever since like the third day that he got sick. So that's good. I have picked up a little bit of congestion today. That's not the color I wanted. And my throat is being a little wonky. And they did say when I was talking to the doctor's office that symptoms could come and go over the next 10 days. New symptoms might develop. And that's just kind of a natural run-of-the-mill thing. I'm seriously hoping that my son does not have any lingering effects that affect his cross-country season. Because I know how hard, it just breaks my heart. And it falls down to us in the end. My husband and I did not get him in to get vaccinated early enough. I'm not kidding. The Friday before he got sick, I was online finding the places that I could take him to get his shot. And then he came home and was sick the next morning. So yeah, it's all about timing. So if you're on the fence about getting it done, just get it. You can do it. I know some people are scared of shots. I know some people are nervous about any side effects. And while both of those things are valid fears, it's just the scariness of this disease, the fact that you could die if you get it. That's what overwhelmed any fear I had. I was thankful that my husband set up our vaccinations when he did, because if I had gotten sick without being vaccinated, I think I would have probably ended up in the hospital. When I get sick, it tends to hit me worse than the rest of the family. And I don't know if that's just because I'm my age or what it is exactly, but I mean, my husband's the same age, but he's way more way more in shape than I am. But yeah, it's a scary, scary thing. So yeah, so I woke up today and I'm a little congested, little raspy throat. My octave is a little deeper than you guys are probably used to. Yeah. All right, let's see what else. So I told you guys about the video games. That's really what I've been watching. That's been my TV for the last little while. And it's just it's a pretty interesting story that they've developed for this game. And I think a lot of video games are that way too lately. It's been a lot about the story. And if there's not a good story behind it, then people are not wanting to play it as much. They really are just like little movies, especially when they have like the cutscenes and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, this could be on a giant TV screen and people would pay money to go watch it. Okay. Yeah. That's not my favorite, but that's going to be the way it is. Okay, so I bet my... it's almost dry. I am going to grab... I kind of wanted it to be grayer, didn't I? So I'm going to add some Storm Gray. Where is that color? And I'm just going to use my water brush, I think. Do I want to do that? Yeah, actually that is pretty dry. Yeah, we're going to do this. I'm just going to add it in a couple of places. Oh, that's not dark enough. Maybe I just don't have enough on my brush. There we go. That looks better. Yeah, I am going to wet that down again, though. That whole area, so that this Storm Gray kind of spreads around and does its thing. I am not a neat watercolorist. Like, I make messes. It's not always very pretty to watch when I put my stuff down, because I'm not very careful about where the water goes. Things are going to be overlapping. There's blue on my mountains. There's blue on my clouds. There's blue on my poor bear. Although I wanted him to look like a spirit bear. I don't know if that's going to be feasible at all, but I had never heard of this goddess. And she's called Atalanta. And it says here that she was left in the forest to die by her father, which I don't know who her father was, but she was raised by hunters, or saved by a bear and raised by hunters. I was like, that's pretty cool. And I'm trying to finish this for, well, that was unnecessary. Dang it. Hopefully. Yeah, don't get your color right over your picture. That was stupid. Oh, I think I just hit the camera. Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to get this done for Amazon Tammy's. I just did it again. Amazon Tammy's, Amazon Warrior Women, whatever her hashtag is. because I thought that was pretty badass that she'd gotten rescued by a bear. And it does say that she's equal to men, which, you know, back in the time of any kind of god or myths were created, that was a huge thing to say. Okay. I think I'm gonna work on her hair. I think she's gonna have lovely brown hair to match her lovely brown bear. Do I want brown? Yeah, I want brown. So I'm gonna go with, I think I'm gonna go with this burnt umber color and the espresso color and see how that works. There's my espresso and burnt umber. And I do have the set of 120 Arteza pencils. So some of these colors, I have the 72 set in the just the regular colored pencils, but this this watercolor set, I got the 120. And I really do like these extra colors that are in here. All right, so this is going to be interesting to try to do hair. I don't do hair very often with watercolors. So yeah, this will be trying to add darkness into some areas and light in others. I'm not a big fan of the way they draw their hair in this book. Like I like the strands, but then I also want little fun strands coming off of there. So I might see if I can draw a few in or something. I don't know. So yeah, I hope this works. Maybe I'll just try to leave some highlights here and there. I am working on another page for that Amazon Warrior hashtag, and I'm really excited about that one. So hoping to get that one done today. And again, I'm using my Arteza pencils. I'm really trying, like I've done a couple of pages that did not use those, you know what, I think I'm going to try to use, instead of my poor brush, because it's getting a little messed up, I'm going to try to use this tiny little watercolor brush, or tiny little paintbrush, and see if I can get in there and, yeah, that works. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I've got that other, I've been using my Arteza pencils for the most part, and I actually found out that the paper that I've printed my PDFs on works really well with my Arteza pencils. So that was a happy discovery. All right, come on. Yeah, I need some work in my watercolors for sure. I want to feel like I know what I'm doing with them, you know? Although I'd like to feel like I know what I'm doing a lot of times with my pencils, which I do. I definitely feel more confident in my pencil work than I have in the past, but still sometimes it's just like a crapshoot. Like, yeah, I think this is how it works, and I hope that this is the right way, and who was it that, so I got a note from it was from Corey at Colorfully Optimistic. She said that Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, is doing a free watercolor class through Michael's, an online watercolor class. And that would probably be a really great one to take. It's a landscape one, but I'm sure she'll give you like fundamentals for, you know, how to paint. So I think that is one that I'm going to sign up for. I will try to post a link to that if I remember. Yeah, because I love watching, if you've not watched Lindsay the Frugal Crafter's channel, I just love her. She was one of the very first YouTube channels I started watching. She does a lot of pencil reviews, but she also does fun little tutorials and teaches you, you know, how to use the supplies that you have. And she's just got a bubbly, fun, happy personality, and I enjoy her videos very much. I also recently started watching Art Journey UK's channel, so Lily's channel. She is a hoot. She's just funny. And I love her channel. I have been binging her videos lately. I found out about her because, you know, she's close to 3,000 subscribers, and I'm bummed that I didn't know about her before now. I don't know how I missed her channel. Which just goes to show you there's always more coloring channels out there for you to find. However, I just happened to hop on YouTube last weekend and saw that a couple of my close coloring friends were on a live stream, and I was like, what? So I tuned in, and Lily had set up a live coloring thing so that anybody could come and join the coloring stream. It was kind of like a Zoom kind of thing. And you had, she could have up to 10 people on screen at a time. And people were just on there and chatting and coloring, and lots of people were in the chat, and it was just really fun. It was so fun. And I was like, man, this lady is awesome. I need to see more of her stuff. So I've been watching some of that. Who else have I been watching a lot of? I know I keep trying to find new channels, but I am running out of time because there are a couple people whose channels I never miss. And I do want to try to find new channels and watch new channels that I've subscribed to several new channels, but I just haven't been able to watch any lately. I just run out of time. I don't know how people do it where they watch so much. I don't know if they just have it on in the background while they're doing other things, but I feel like I just run out of time to do everything I want to do. All right, let me pick some of that color back up. I want that lighter in there. All right, almost done with her hair. This doesn't look terrible. I keep doing that. Why do I do that? This is looking good so far. Let's see it that way. All right, what else? I'm trying to think of what else I could talk to you guys about. I mean, you already heard about the major drama, so. Oh, and my daughter, I scared the crap out of her because when they pulled her, so when we found out that his COVID test came back positive, we immediately called my daughter's school, because they're in two different schools. And when they pulled her out of class, they didn't tell her why she was getting pulled. They didn't, they didn't say anything about it to any of the other kids because, it's all the confidentiality stuff. And she came out to the car. She's like, "What's the matter? What's wrong? What's going on?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, they didn't tell you anything?" She's like, "No." So then I explained it to her. She's like, okay. Well, I mean, she was shocked that AJ had it. We were all shocked. Like, I don't know why we were so shocked, but none of us expected it to come back positive. None of us. I don't know. Okay. All right, so what do we think, guys? I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I'm going to keep working at it. There's always that ugly stage that watercolor paintings go through. So I'm hoping that's what I'm dealing with right now. But yeah, I'm going to keep playing with this. I'm hoping to finish this one today. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so that is it for today. I've rambled on long enough. Thank you for listening to all of my belly aching and all of my chatter. I really do enjoy these weekend whips, even on the times where I can't think of anything to say. And I love all of the comments that I get back from you all. It makes me feel happy to know that I'm keeping somebody company, or somebody can relate to what I'm going through. Yeah, so like I said, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.